house finds the owner.
I think we've evolved a process where we've made sure that we are there with the buyer at every single stage.
There are few things which are probably on the border of acceptable or not acceptable, we avoid. Owning a home is an asset building process. Start your search from a broader list, don't get carried away with this.
House hunting to housewarming. So how important is this vision in everyday workings of Ceyone? Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Blueprint. In the last 4 episodes, we have talked in depth about the 4 W's of the home buying process. And this week, we delve into the how. So let's get started and see what the home buying process is all about. Hi Deba, welcome back to another episode of The Blueprint.
Hi Sandhya, thank you.
We have received some very interesting feedback from our viewers for our previous episodes. And today we are going to delve into the final question of our framework, which is the how.
Oh, it's the most important.
Absolutely. So, we would love to hear from you. How does the entire buying process unfold for a buyer?
Yeah, of course, this is such a personal and intimate thing to purchase a house.
Right.
So, obviously, there will be a lot of specific nuances.
Correct.
So, we'll try to cover some very generic ones and why I think there is something wrong in the most conventional process of starting house hunt. A typical house hunt happens with 2 parameters to be the first parameter, that is 2 BHK or 3 BHK, location, price.
Right.
These 3.
Correct.
So, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, there is still some value, but the other 2 is very short term. Very short term. And unfortunately, this particular search has been forced upon on the buyer by the producers. It's because that's how they try to communicate.
Correct.
And that is how. So, there are some intelligent buyers even today, and there were intelligent buyers probably 20 years before who did not start with this. They looked a little longer,
Right.
what kind of space requirement, because that is your starting point. And I would like to look at a little broader in terms of pricing, in terms of location, in terms of other things, like going beyond the so-called 6 or 10 big developers.
Correct.
So that I get something what fits my list.
Correct. Correct.
I have a list. So this is what precisely I recommend, and this is what we are implementing at Ceyone.
Right.
So anybody, like I say that this particular project is supposed to be targeted for a young family. When I say young families, either married or maybe only one kid. Young family in the age group this, maybe one person is working or both working, and if I would like to recommend that project to them, then I need to think how this family would evolve organically over the next 15 years and whether that unit would work for them for the next 15 years.
Correct.
And then we recommend that. This is something we do even selecting a project. When we select a project also, how good is the design,
Right.
construction quality,
Right.
how big are rooms inside the house, and of course amenity and livability. So livability actually goes more beyond amenity. What kind of sunlight, what kind of airflow, how is the common area, the streets we call it, podiums should be vehicular movement free. There should be some social space dedicated for different functions, that kind of stuff. That is what is livability, and
Correct.
we have to think about the livability for next 15 years.
Correct.
Then the water treatment process, power, and what kind of DG backup, all this infra, sewage treatment plant, how advanced is the sewage treatment plant, how is the rainwater, I mean both Bangalore and Hyderabad get a lot of rains. So how is the water treatment process as a whole, not
Correct.
just the potable water,
Correct.
the rainwater,
Correct.
and what kind of rainwater harvest treatment. So quite a number of parameters you take into consider even getting a project on our
Right.
and then we try to recommend that project, some units to buyers based on the buyer's need. So my suggestion and strong recommendation is, please don't start this search only based on pricing
And location.
and location. So first you always have this list and try to go back to the list, and of course finally you have to, anything you can buy only when you can afford.
Correct.
But to buy something which you can use for 15 years, if a little stretch is required, you have to find ways for that, and be a little broader on location, as I told you.
Right.
Owning a home is an asset building process.
Correct.
So even though you say, I live there, it is not earning anything, it has a earning which you will obviously notice after many years.
After many years, right.
So that is precisely what we recommend. So that is the first step of the search process, that you start your search from a broader list, don't get carried away with this. And then it is possible to narrow down the options, because there could be many options.
Correct.
It is possible to narrow down the options based on, and Google will help you. Our pricing engine is
Right.
a big tool to help whether that unit will work for you, at what stage it is, when handover is going to happen. All these things are available and you can do on your own laptop or phone. Second thing is visit, right? I mean, when my recommendation is you narrow down your options and try to visit those options multiple times.
Right.
Instead of visiting 20 properties once,
Ah.
you have to visit the property you're going to buy, which is under construction, at different point of time.
To get the
Evening.
feel.
Yeah, feel life. How is evening? Like you can't say that you will always come home early, right? Sometimes
Correct.
you come home late. Whether how is the feeling driving to place and come back, and if some part of the project is ready and families live in, you will know the vibrancy level of the
Correct.
place.
Correct.
So I recommend. There are people who love morning sunrise. They bought a house without visiting the project even once in the morning. How will that work? It doesn't
Correct.
work. So if you are somebody a morning person, you would strongly recommend visit the project in morning. So different point of time, and if possible, visit without assistance. This is, in fact, this is something we recommend to our prospects also. Sir, you please visit on your own at some point without telling us. Find a way, but visit. So visiting without assistance gives a lot of.
That's a very interesting way of putting it, because I don't think people would actually, I mean, at least the people who are selling would not like potential buyers to come without an assistant. So it's interesting,
But
because
I mean, we are not seller.
Right.
We are trying to play a role for both
Yes.
parties. And of course, as I told you earlier, because the buyer is going to enjoy the property more, we
Correct.
tend to think more from the buyer's point
perspective. But this, I think, would give them a very beautiful feel of the place and
You're-
connect.
of view. It's a dreamer's concept, right?
Yes.
Own space. So
Yes.
it all aids your dreaming earlier.
Right. Right.
That, okay, this
You can
I'm
imagine
about-
yourself in those spaces.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
So there are people who may probably, based on their direction sense, would be able to say, but still going to that place in different times, weekday, weekend also makes a lot of sense. So hard work. What we are recommending is hard work. Fortunately, we are doing it every day and now,
Right.
to select the projects. My first project, I remember Ceyone's first project, Classic Landmark. I probably have visited 8 to 10 times before we started talking about the list of units, which units to sell, what price, and all. So many times I visited. So now also new projects, I mean, as a team we would have visited 10, 12 times before taking the project on board on Ceyone platform.
Right. Interesting.
Then once that narrowing happens, and 2-3 properties, never more than that actually. You visit those properties at multiple times. Have you heard about this called house finds the owner?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so we say that, I mean, we try to overestimate our own effort and our, but if you have done multiple visits,
right,
the house will find you.
Right.
Or where you are able to connect more.
Correct, correct.
That you invariably you will know.
Right.
Now you don't have to do again a lot of. Once out of those 3 options, it is 1 or 2 or maybe nil. Then I say, okay, that's fine. That you find another 3.
Right.
It could be nil also. It
right.
is not that you just zeroed on 3 and those 3 will work for you. Quite a number of things will come into when is it going to be ready, how early I can enjoy, all
right.
those things play a role. So then you select next 3 options. In that 3, most likely you will narrow in on 2 broadly.
Right.
Maybe all 3. There is nothing wrong. And there, in one project, I like the project, but the unit I am looking for not. So then I am going for the second. Then you come back to saying, okay, am I able to commute to this from my current location? But my location may change.
Right.
So do I have a public transport system like metro? So wherever I work in Bangalore, I can come. And then is it within our budget or is it beyond? Then next comes your housing loan. And because this is a very critical part, we are very actively supporting on the housing loan assistance.
Okay.
Lot of different ways and means, preferred banks and non-preferred banks. There are banks who are strongly encouraging giving you loan for your interior also.
Right,
so
right.
That's also another good amount, right? So that is the securing finance piece. That piece to many extent is streamlined, but still we help buyers in that direction. And then your visits, multiple type of visits, type of questions, and most projects which are on Ceyone platform, we somehow using of course all protocols allow buyers to see the specific units if possible. If it is or if it is a higher floor unit, at least the first floor of that, so get that feeling.
Correct.
Sunlight, air kind of thing. Some of this can be done using different
tools also, right.
And then we will be with the buyer still house warming. And that is very important.
Correct.
Because there are challenges. It's accept there are challenges on the way.
Right.
Just giving a blank statement, oh no, don't worry, everything will be smooth. Just because I have seen projects before even the first discussion at land level, till the last buyer moved in and housing association formed for the same project. So there are challenges, but you need to have enough knowledge, of course patience,
right,
and to be a little more empathetic towards the other party to address all these challenges.
So are there any non-negotiables in the how process that we have not talked about?
I would say the list you would have prepared will have 3 to 5 definite non-negotiable. I would when it is a good question you asked. When I prepare the list only, it is better I put NN non-negotiable.
Right.
These 3 will be non-negotiable. So any property don't justify one of these 3
is not in the
ruled
list.
out. Something depending on what all you enjoy. A good size balcony in my master bedroom, non-negotiable item, because that is whoever starts the morning in the balcony of their bedroom with coffee, tea, and so that's how you would start the day.
Correct.
And this is a daily ritual you would not like to ignore, right? And if preferably sunlight or at least some access to sun.
Right.
There are multiple non-negotiable. A study room. So if you are having a pet, there will be non-negotiable in that direction.
Correct.
So non-negotiables must be there. Otherwise, your search is very elastic. Right?
Correct.
Search must not be elastic. That is precisely I am saying. Don't compromise on your list, but try to broaden the search.
Right. Right.
Broaden the search in terms of more products, more going beyond the top 5 or 10. I don't. Those rankings also have its own challenges. But broaden the search, broaden the location a little bit to find a better product.
So you did say in the beginning that it's a very emotional and there are a lot of nuances in the entire buying process. So what is the most stressful stage for a buyer in this entire process, and where do we see the emotions being at the highest?
Absolutely.
Both positive and negative.
Yeah. I mean, positive emotions are more.
Right.
Sometimes somebody may complain in a way it sounds like negative, but if you think a little bit, actually it's a positive emotion. I can give some example. Somebody was referred to me through a good friend, and so, he lives in an apartment. In the same vicinity, he is looking to buy a villa. I said, sounds good. I mean, at least you have narrowed down the location, so we just need to find, we'll see how we can help you. And then he gave me a broader requirement. It started from broader, but it's very specific actually. It came narrowed down to like one project. He's saying, I think I'm more or less interested only in this project. Now you have to find a good unit in this project. So based on his specific requirements, this project is completely sold.
Okay.
So people already live there. Most units are owned by individuals. We kind of zeroed down to 2-3 specific villas that which probably will satisfy his requirement. And now you need to find who are the people who own these villas and whether they want to sell
or not.
So one unit which we are able to connect to somebody who was ready to sell. And then that buyer is very excited. And then he had a specific price also in mind.
Okay.
I want to buy this, but I will not pay beyond this. So it took a good time to convince the seller that this is the right price. And now the seller agreed. So see what happens. So we came to a point after many months actually that at a villa which he likes at a price which he himself
wants.
And suddenly one day I got a message from the buyer, can we meet for lunch today? I said, I mean, obviously I can find some time, but for what? Then he had this series of questions in the call. So it took me some time to realize these questions are actually just some list. But the concern is the positive response. He is now overwhelmed.
Okay.
So I took him out for lunch and first 10-15 minutes I'm just trying to tell you have arrived. This is something which you are going to own. You deserve it.
Let it soak in.
Let that soak in, because all the questions were actually very not difficult based on our experience. Maybe difficult, challenging for the buyer, but because we have seen. So just it's a positive. Sometimes what you dream for you get, right, and then you have to also convince yourself I deserve it.
I deserve it. Correct.
That is the bridge we have to cross.
Right.
And after that they are living, and many times morning itself he sends me message. Whenever I have tea in my veranda, I remember you.
So sweet.
So sweet. So many positive emotions. It's just that the new buyer takes some time to know that this is a positive thing happening.
Correct.
And we have to also help in that. And there are a lot of negative emotions related to, like they thought 3-bedroom itself was a stretch, but when they visited, somebody in the family, maybe spouse, liked the 4-bedroom and said, oh my God, I thought 3-bedroom itself was a stretch, but we visited the project and we liked how will we? Then we try to say this is the price, this is that, and we'll see what can be done. You can defer some of the payment if developer allows. This is your loan eligibility. What are the things you have submitted to the loan eligibility? So quite a number of things are about the sudden changes.
Correct.
Sudden changes between a planned purchase, but you thought this is what, but then you happens things when you go to the site, and suddenly you may not have done that 15-year plan when you started, and then you realize that if you are spending so much money, like why should not I spend a little more?
Correct.
So a lot of positive emotions actually, and some negative emotions are also there. Uncertainty, some specific modification you had in mind, but probably that discussion did not happen early. Now that you are saying the technical team from developer side coming forward saying it's not possible. That is what I said. Some of the things may not be readily done by developer, but we can handle it through interior. So me, my senior team and some of our project level heads also all are very well trained on some small concern. That's what I'm saying. We are well prepared. Of course, you should be technically competent. You should also would like to do that thing. What
Correct.
we are trying to say, that we want to be with the buyer from house hunt till housewarming.
Right.
And it is a privilege to attend housewarming, because most buyers would invite their close friends,
Correct.
family,
Correct.
very close colleagues for that function. And if they many buyers invite us. Many buyers take my number from the team and invite me, and I probably attend 100% of housewarming.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
That also showcases the connect that we build with them.
If there is during that some concern will be there, we would like to know what kind of, and I am more keen to see what kind of interior people do. If some of this can be built into the primary design, so that they don't have to spend additional money. And what kind of lifestyle, bigger kitchen, this type. So there are a lot of trend which comes along. As in one of the podcast I was telling that some people prefer the master bedroom just next to the living on one side. This also from the visits it comes.
Correct.
That we may thought that would be the master bedroom, that he's saying no, I find this is better.
Right.
I'm okay with that. Maybe it is a little small, but I'm okay. It has balcony, good for me. So that something you would like to do, and then you have to develop competence to do it, because there will be technical questions related to civil engineering, there will be design questions, there will be interior questions, there will be finance questions, there will be payment related challenges, bank not releasing payment, why not release, so quite a number of challenges.
Right.
But we would like to be there throughout.
Which brings me to my next question, that what is Ceyone's unique style of operating that helps the buyers navigate this entire journey till housewarming?
So that comes from the vision itself, that we believe home is a very beautiful thing for a family. But when you go a little back saying, okay, when did you buy? When did you give your booking amount? From there till your handover, how was the experience? So there are a lot of gaps. Right? We are trying to say, finally, your house is going to be a beautiful thing for you. Why can't this buying experience also should be as beautiful as that? So to do that, a lot of things we have done. We have probably the only company in India which has a very strong curation process. Our curation team is 6 members strong, headed by Vinod, who is very well experienced in this. And I have built enough courage into the team to say no. Whatever may be our marketing fees, developer is ready. No, we would not be able to take this project to the market. Many things, like if the handover time period is 5 years plus, I would not evaluate a product which will be ready in 5 years. So how can I recommend to somebody?
Someone else, correct.
See, one of their question, and this is an actual checklist. If this location works for me, will I buy today? Will I buy the product today? Number one. Number two, would I recommend my brother to buy here? Would I recommend my best friend to buy here? So you will be able to sell something only when you
are
yourself are convinced.
Absolutely.
Right? And curation process have many technical details also, 36 different parameters actually. So that is the first stage. Even before we get into discussions with developers, we do visit on our own. So most of our projects come through word of mouth, or people directly call us. They heard about Ceyone, they call, and many come through reference of developers. Developers would have told about us and called. So even before first meeting, I say that, boss, we have to see the project first. Whatever we can gather theoretically is one part from RERA and other things, but at the same time we need to visit the place. And there are developers who have done very small projects now doing a bigger project. So we visit many of their completed projects. Where families living for 5 years, 7 years, 9 years, 10 years. And we broadly would be able to distinguish which part is developer's responsibility, which part is the association responsibility. Take a call, I think they seem to be a decent developer. So the strong curation process, and then that is our responsibility to the buyer, that whatever product we have put it in the platform itself have gone through a very good curation process, number one. Number two, what we do is try to know the buyer as much as possible. Because how can you recommend any unit for somebody for next 15 years if you don't
understand them? Yes.
And try to know as much as about them, and over a period of time, people, when they know you are a professional company, started by professionals, managed by professionals, people open up. Finally, it helps help you to help, help us to help you. Right? That is the concept. So know as much as possible, and then recommend something which will work for next 15 years, and be with them throughout the process. So that's we try to complete the entire journey. So. If only if we helped in every small queries, most things I call it query, because nothing as a concern which cannot be addressed. All these queries can be addressed very well. Only if we have addressed all the queries, we probably have a chance of getting the housewarming invitation.
Right.
Which is very important. And then for the buyers to do something on their own, we have put this pricing engine, few other things.
Correct.
We have a very detailed cost sheet, and we are committed that if you have taken a printout of a cost sheet, we will honor that price. Those kind of
I think we've evolved a process where we've made sure that we are there with the buyer at every single stage.
There are few things which are probably on the border of acceptable or not acceptable, we avoid. So like we usually take the project to the market. In the name, the project is approved by RERA. No code name. We don't promote any code name. There is a process called expression of interest. So even if you do expression of interest after RERA approval, I still think it is okay, but I don't see any value. We can directly allot the unit.
Right.
There are many marketing agencies as well as some developers do expression of interest even before RERA. I think it's not allowed. The way I understand RERA bylaws, it is not allowed. So we don't go lot of requests we get from developers. Lot of requests. Plan is in approval stage, why don't you do UI? No, we will not do. We will not do. So at that time we say, see, we have some obligation to you, but once the project has passed through the curation stage, our obligation is that we would like to find good buyers, because we believe this is a good product. We would like to find good buyers who would live in here and make the place more beautiful in the shortest time possible.
Correct.
But at the same time, not bypassing any of the legality. It's not as legal as much, but I go back to my own concept is why I would not recommend for any UI or anything before RERA. These are all technical terms from our point of view. From the buyer point of view, their dreams start the day they give the first check.
Absolutely.
So if you not got RERA and you have taken that expression of interest and finally it takes 9 months, and there are challenges of any sanction process, right? If you get it, so their dream is already delayed by 9 months even
Absolutely.
before starting anything.
Yes, and I think we've seen a lot of examples of that in the recent past as well.
Yes, so it is, of course, we must follow the law of the land in letter and spirit, but it goes beyond that. So you would like to shorten this gap of your dream start, and then you start enjoying the
Right.
house.
The
That where all comes. That's why you also don't take projects where handover is more than 36 months. That's precisely how. Lot of thought have gone into
Right.
Bringing projects on board,
Right.
because we are answerable to buyers. We are more answerable to buyers than the developers.
Right. So I would also like to talk about your entire idea from house hunting to housewarming. So how important is this vision in the everyday workings of Ceyone?
It's very challenging, of course. Yeah, I mean, I understand why this part should be developer responsibility, that part should be buyer responsibility. All these things come together. Anything you want to do it, and you want to do it over a period of time consistently is difficult.
Absolutely.
So you can be very much customer oriented, but 90 days, right? And
Right.
now we are talking about being customer oriented for 2.5 years, up to 3 years.
Yes.
By the way, even beyond. So it's brings some tensions over different point of time. But we must go back to the mission that what are the other ways to make this home buying journey as beautiful as the house? Let's see if there is no other way. Till maybe there will be a time when the transparency level will be very high, that the day sale agreement is signed, the buyers will say, "Hey, everything is now covered in sale agreement, whatever is covered I will get," and they are able to visualize this is precisely what I get and all this. So that time is some time away. So I have seen significant improvement in product quality, both in Bangalore and Hyderabad. So I bought my first apartment in 2003. So you can see this is the gap between 2003 and 2024. And I have visited many cities for new projects, visits and all. There is a significant improvement in product design, quality, material quality, maintenance. So hopefully in a good 15-20 year time frame, we'll say, yeah, I mean, once would like to attend the housewarming, but things will be much smoother after. Because things are not that smooth, we would like to be part of the process till
So apart from just the buying process per se, what are the other verticals in which Ceyone is also assisting the buyers?
Yeah, again, the two, including, I mean, helping them finding a good house. Two other verticals we are very active, because they are also again part of that entire process.
Correct.
From housewarming, from house hunting till housewarming, right? One is home loan assistance.
Absolutely.
And then interior, because they are all part of it. In fact, separating interior from development is again a producer concept. For a user, how does it make sense?
Correct, correct.
Just for a minute, you think, you want to have a good size master bedroom where you have a king size bed and probably a dressing area, and this is your plan, and wardrobes. Wardrobes were based on how many wardrobes there, and you would like to have probably a sofa, two-seater, or a study, depending on, this is what you want, right?
Correct.
Some of this may be achieved by developer, some of this may be achieved by interior.
Correct.
But for a buyer is, when I move in, this thing should be there.
Right. And I think
So
interiors is also a very big part of visualization
Absolutely.
for a buyer.
Interior is the most important touch and feel.
Exactly.
In fact,
right.
interior, we say interior is the biggest value addition of the.
Absolutely.
So if they had done this list,
Hmm.
and when we say these things are not coming as development, we say, ma'am, sir, this can be taken care in interior. Please keep in mind that when interior design process starts, you must keep these things to them.
Correct.
Interior is the real touch and feel.
Right.
So specific.
Ah.
And
So as a buyer, I might be thinking, this is the space where I want it to be a reading space.
Absolutely.
This is where I want to spend most of my evenings. This is where I'll be busy in the mornings.
and design of the kitchen,
Exactly.
which is so
Absolutely.
specific.
And practical.
Functional.
Right.
Without losing elegance, but it also, Indian kitchen is extremely functional.
Absolutely.
It has to be, right? So, these two process which we have started, that is home loan assistance and interior, is to be, because it's part of the process. But
Correct.
see, we are not an housing finance company, so we work with many banks. But based on your, because we definitely know that by this time home loan discussion happening, we know the buyer very well.
Correct.
So we recommend, based on what I have seen, I would recommend this option for you. So we are playing that role. On the home loan, we do. Interior also, the same curation skill set is used here.
Okay.
So we shortlisted about 20 interior companies and met their design team, visited their factory or access to the factories. Many of the interior companies don't own a factory; they have
Correct.
access to factories.
Correct.
Which is a good mechanism,
Business
and,
model.
ecosystem. So we visited their access to factory. How good are those factories? How modern? What kind of quality assurance they built into? Do they have people there who work as supervisors, managers? All those things we have done, because as I told you, this is all touch and feel.
Correct.
Right? Once you recommend only
Yes.
one, and we shortlisted only 5. We work with 5 interior companies. Their designs, they have good design strength. Their access to factory is good. They know about this innovations in the materials, because a lot of new materials keep
Correct.
coming. And we recommend those 5. We usually recommend for any buyer, again based on your test, timeline, budget, we will recommend 2 or 3 out of these 5.
Okay.
And then you decide. Buyer themselves also
Bring some in,
evaluate
yeah,
in the
yeah.
plan, who are there. No, I mean, if they would like to go, some input they want from us also we provide. But we are not in a position to recommend anybody whom has not been, which company has not been my curation process. I will not know much.
So you have a very elaborate but very concise
Yeah.
buying experience that you have created for your buyers. So which brings me to my last question, which is, what is the vision that you see going forward for Ceyone?
From the house hunting point of view, I look at making it much more advanced than it is today.
Okay.
So, you should be able to, once your list is ready, you should be able to provide those inputs to our system. Nobody has access till you give the access. So, you become a member. Like you use the Ceyone platform to do your own homework. We don't, nobody has even access to read it, anything, till you say that I now need help. Till that time you start doing it. Provide this, and we'll give you some help also. Okay. You are talking about a kitchen. There are different shapes of kitchen is possible. Which one you would like to do? Ideally, this process over a period of time should help the platform with your intelligence input to develop a floor plan for you.
For you.
And take that floor plan and search in our database.
What is it that we can
What
match?
is that? If not 100%, 90%, 80%. And then it shows up to you that this is the plan. Does it sound good? And then of course other things are also there. What kind of amenity, and all project level things. So there is a unit level and there is a project level. And that platform should also take PDF input from you. You say, I have seen some project somewhere. This is the so of course it takes up and it reads, able to read out this is kitchen, and it takes up, it modularizes it and puts it, and then yes, I have some units which is 87% matching.
Matching.
Would you like to see that plan? That's what we would like to get into, because the space which you are going to own is probably the most important part of the entire process. And if we can find a project, then we show you and says, so these are the three which matches more than 70%. This is the location and this is the price. This is the location and this is the price. And all these things you should be able to do still you are at home. So ideally you probably visit only 2 projects. That's
because you've already shortlisted and you know,
correct.
you've visualized what you want.
Okay. So this is the development piece of it. There is a similar piece on the platform which will be interior. Now that we have your plan, you know what you bought, we have that plan. That plan is already uploaded. With that plan, these are the interior options are possible. So you do your interior design again sitting at your home. That's what we would like to. And when possible, there are some challenges around. By the time you visit one project, by the time your one visit complete, we should be able to, if you come into a site, provide your basic details, by the time your visit complete, we want to reach a point to tell you, you will get loan from these 3 banks and this much.
So you're preempting that process also for the buyer.
Correct. And why again, that's another meeting, somebody will come. And let me tell you, so much digression happens on this process. Somebody says that he is from so and so bank, they come and they they have come to discuss home loan, but they know home loan commission is only so much. Residential sales commission is much higher. So, sir, which project? Then he will tell you 7 things negative about that project. Because he has come to your house to sell some other property where he has 1% commission. It happens. So this is all things which breaks the experience.
Correct.
Which disrupt. I mean, which actually the entire experience becomes very. What do you call it? Absolutely non-satisfactory. There is no starting point, there is no end point. So
there's a lot of scope for doubts creeping in.
Some of these processes, some of these experience can be made much better without human intervention. Where required human intervention should be there, I am not saying, but some of this human intervention is not required. By the time you finished your trip in 45 minutes, you finish your site visit, I will tell you which 5 banks are more suitable for you, at what interest rate, and you choose. Let paperwork only be done. So, even the person who is recommending you 2 more projects probably don't even know where are you working. As simple as that.
Correct.
He doesn't know even your family members. That's not a good experience. So we need to limit human intervention in this entire process.
That's, I think, a very wonderful way to look at a futuristic approach, keeping technology in hand.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Deva, for spending time with us. I think the last 5 episodes have been an eye-opener for people like me who don't understand the insides of the real estate industry, and I think you just made the entire journey very simple, and I think it will be easier for people to look at decision making in the real estate industry. So thank you for your time and thank you for the information shared. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you, Ceyone. Thank you, Prithvi. So I don't know whether it is going to make it easy, but probably it makes little more long-term oriented decisions, so that you don't keep doing every 5 years the same thing. I tell most of the buyers that this is a challenging process. I don't want to say that this is a challenging process. The most important thing, we will be with you till you move into your house, and that's the most. And at any point of time, there are enough detail available to you to know as much as you want to know about the product,
Right.
about location, or
Right.
about financial plans available for
Right.
you. That's the, and quite a number of these things should go to a technological platform. Why buyer? Many buyers have this concern: am I getting the right price?
Yes.
So only when it goes to a platform, you know that what Sandhya sees is the same as what Ceyone sees,
Correct.
or Prithvi sees.
Correct.
And that's also one of the layer. The reason why we decided that we will put units on a real-time basis on a pricing engine. Anybody who has a mobile phone can access that.
Can
we
access.
do OTP verification because this is important information. This is also strategic information. So only when you have a OTP, one layer of OTP verification,
Correct.
then you get access to this information. This is, we will keep improving that space. More and more information provide. Good.
But I think that's an assurance and empowerment both
Yeah,
for our buyers.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
I wish every home buyer to develop a list before they start visiting projects.
Right.
List which probably is your requirement for next 15 years.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Deva.
Thank you.
That was amazing. From house hunting to housewarming, simplified for you by Ceyone. This is how Ceyone supports you and empowers you during the home buying process. To know more about us, follow us on our LinkedIn page, Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The links are in the description below. See you soon.